Hello, good morning, everyone. Hope you can hear me. We had some technical difficulties with Zoom. Wow, that's something very new. Welcome to the fourth quarterly meetup this year. This is the final quarterly meetup in 2023. We are going to be back next year again with all these quarterly meetups, bringing you all the latest in the industry. Today's session is about esports, and it's titled, "Is esports a safe bet or a bit of a punt?" We had initially Oliver Niner and Max Sevostianov confirmed, but we also have a surprise. We have Juana Bischoff, senior BDM at Odin, joining us as well. Hi, Juana. Oliver, Max, I know we had been doing this for a while now. It's several meetups, online meetups, but the audience is quite new, and we are streaming also on LinkedIn. Let's just give a round of introduction about ourselves and our companies. Let's start with Juana, who is of course joining. Hi, Juana.
Hello, it's a great pleasure to be here, and it's also a pleasure to meet you, and I'm very happy to be here together with Oliver and with Max. It's great seeing you again. So very excited to speak about the topic because, you know, this is our passion, right? I speak about us, Max, Oliver, right? This is what we love, this is what we're doing. I mean, you know, to speak a bit about Odin, also about myself. I'm in the industry, in the esports industry, for a couple of years now, and it's great to see the progress, right? And also, you know, everybody was speaking about the massive growth, and yes, it is massively growing and still. So Odin is a B2B provider for esports odds, risk management, and also iframe solution. We also help with marketing. So, and I'm sure we'll have a fantastic discussion here today, since we can share a lot of insights, because, you know, is it a safe bet or a punt? Definitely a safe bet.
All right. Ollie.
Hello, guys. Yeah, well, lovely to surprise to have Joanna on here. And it's always good to see everyone. Yes, so my name's Ollie Niner. I am head of sales for PandaScore. I've been at PandaScore nearly for 3 years now. PandaScore is also an odds and data provider within the esports sphere of the betting industry. We focus on our trading models and our trading infrastructure. So we provide innovative products such as Bet Builder and our new micro betting product, which has been live with a customer now for we're just starting to see revenues coming from that for the last 3 months, something like that. And we've been in the space again for 4 years. And to echo what Joanna says, we have seen really, really fantastic growth in different markets and with different types of operators. So again, it is definitely a safe bet. There's no punt here at all.
All right, thank you. Max, you're on mute.
Unmute, done. All good. The most popular phrase in our industry when we're talking with each other.
Yeah.
So my name is Max. I'm Chief Operating Officer at the Betbazar. Betbazar is worldwide iGaming marketplace. So we choose the best-in-class products and help our clients to choose wisely, especially when it comes to esports content and esports products. So we're also providing fast games like FIFA, NBA, NHL, and of course, classic esports data feed based on official data. So I hope today we will discuss a lot of issues and challenges that we see right now in the market in terms of esports. And probably the main goal for me is to provide not insights, but to educate our audience and to find a proper approach to share the information. So to understand what is classic esports, how to increase revenue, how to choose the product, and how to understand your audience. This is the main, I believe, questions.
All right. So yeah, we've been going back in time to 2016 in the office when we had a printed magazine called EEG Report, and I remember that esports was only news dedicated one page maybe. Back then it was, I think, Mark McGuinness who was very fascinated with esports and supplying us one article in 2016 per magazine. And now esports is everywhere. And we at least cover 10 to 12, maybe 15 news per day. So yeah, it's definitely a safe bet. And momentum has been building behind esports betting for some time now. But operators are still some reluctant to go all in and invest the resources and, of course, talent required to provide compelling player experiences. So our panel today will look at the current state of the play with the esports betting, including the size of the market, where the growth opportunities are. We will also look into some of the challenges operators are facing and how they can overcome it, as well as what it takes to deliver a smooth and seamless esports betting experience that taps into the size of lucrative but hard-to-reach demographic, which is the esports audience. So, first question goes for the whole panel. So, where is the esports betting market currently at? In which market is it thriving? Where it is struggling to gain momentum, and what sort of numbers is it generating? So basically it's 4 or 5 questions to kickstart everything. So Juana, the floor is yours. You go first on this, then Ollie, then Max.
I mean, yeah, many thanks for the question. So, these 4 questions, we can already speak for a while, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So, of course, right, Asia is huge when it comes to esports. In Europe, Europe is picking up, is going really well. Right now, we see a huge growth in Latin America. So everybody's also looking at Latin America. When it comes to what sort of numbers esports is generating, of course, this is a very valuable and a very interesting question. So I'm happy to also share some insights from our clients, right? So Tipsport, for example, is one of our clients, and they double their numbers year over year. So this is definitely an interesting information. We also have clients where esports is already 5 to 10% of their handle. And we even have clients where it is 30 to 40%. So this is probably something that is surprising for someone, but this is actually the reality, right? So yeah, I mean, there is a lot of growth that we see, and it will grow even more because, as also Max said before, that we also want to speak about, the challenges that we are facing. And you said that we still see, operators being hesitant and not offering esports. I think this is because we need to educate, we need to speak about it, we need to speak about, yes, the audience is there, the momentum is there, and that they are not afraid to offer this, but you need to have a good product, and you also need to have, an authentic kind of surrounding, and this is important.
All right.
Yes, from my side, to follow up from that, I think what we've seen at PandaScore, so we passed a big moment in October ourselves. I mean, we passed 1 billion in bet turnover, so in bet volume, and that was a significant moment and that's cumulative over the time PandaScore's been there, and that's really accelerated past since the last kind of year and a half. What we see, maybe go into a little bit more granularity and kind of on a regional perspective, we see it's interesting where esports suddenly hooks and where kind of regions start to really take hold. So we see a lot. We some of our biggest customers are in Australia, for example. So we work with Ladbrokes Australia and we work with Dabble, and they've done very, very well with our product. And then also Europe, a bit more sporadic, but again, we're seeing kind of growth in Eastern Europe. We're seeing more adoption in the UK. So we've signed big deals with, tier ones in the UK, and they're, we're seeing more kind of like more of a desire to adopt product there. And we'll see how that takes off. We're very excited with that because those are big ticket brands and big kind of companies who are going to be working with us, likes of Hills and likes of Betfred. And then, again, to echo what Joanna says, LATAM is really interesting. We see specifics, and she can probably speak to that more in terms of country by country, but we're seeing a lot of traction, a lot of interest, and a lot of excitement around Brazil specifically. Mainly around the ecosystem there, and the kind of nature of how Brazilian demographies follow and are into influencers and teams and that kind of thing. That kind of ecosystem suits well there. So there's a lot of excitement about esports in Brazil. And then Mexico is another one that we're kind of watching very closely. And then the big one for us will be the US. So we're running through a licensing process for a couple of states ourselves at the moment. I know we're not the only people on the panel to be doing that, but that's obviously very interesting and seeing where that goes. We felt it was a bit earlier in the year, but now the timing seems to be right. There seems to be some momentum there. So market-wise, from a PandaScore perspective, we see lots of excitement in different areas. Italy's actually another one which is quite interesting. We're going through a licensing process there as well, which is very interesting to see how that goes. There's not a lot of revenue there, but it's a country that is looking to kind of see if it can start harnessing things there. To speak of why operators are a little bit hesitant, I think we've seen a few, should we say, kind of big bang companies come and go over the course of the last kind of maybe 4 years. We've seen a lot of razzmatazz and a lot of spectacle about certain companies. I won't name names. We're not here to do that, and I think they've come and gone. And these are meant to be big moments and big kind of massive investments going into them and these kind of things. And I think what we're starting to see, which I think is the most exciting thing, is high quality companies building on sustainable growth, good products, going against each other, working with each other, a proper kind of community which is developing in a sustained way, in a real way. And I think that you'll start to see more trust coming from operators because they'll start to believe the stories that are being told. I think for maybe, we battled against that with other companies where they've been these big share offerings and they've been on panels and then they disappear. And I think now what we're seeing is, we're seeing likes of Max, Juana, myself, Fabian, our CEO, Marek from Maiden. We're seeing, the guys from Grid. We're seeing them all around. It's the same people. There's a bit of familiarity. I think the ecosystem is a bit more solid and stable and trust, and that builds trust.
All right, thank you, Oli. Max.
Oh yeah, a lot of information already. But,
yeah.
So I just want to agree. About the Asia and LATAM region. Definitely, sure. Yeah, the Asian top one in terms of esports popularity, sponsorship, and different support, government support as well. Of these disciplines. In terms of Europe, yeah, it's more stable. But what I want to add and agree with Oliver, that we created business cases for the industry. Yeah, before, let's say 3 years ago or 4 years ago, it's hard to believe that esports can generate a lot. Yeah, we talked a lot about the millions of billions market share for esports, but unfortunately, especially on the side of sportsbook operators, they didn't want to invest a lot in this field. When I say invest a lot, it means millions. It's not about just getting a product, integrated a product in your sports book and working with the same audience, with the same approach as with traditional sports, and waiting for a lot of money. Also, I agree with Juana regarding the percentage. The let's say mostly it's about 1 to 3% esports share in the whole sportsbook revenue. But for companies who invest in esports, who believe in it, who work with the audience, so this percentage will grow dramatically, like 10 to 13 to 14, as Juana said. And this is about education. So that's why the market is here, and it's worldwide. It's not specific in Asia, Europe, or Latam. It's worldwide because the audience is worldwide. You don't need to go to another country to play a game, and this is definitely already created ecosystem. And on the first place in this ecosystem is a game, not a bet. And we have to understand this. And we have to understand it in terms of how to work with the audience. I believe we will discuss it a little bit later about gender and about approach. But overall, the market is here. It's huge. And if you just starting asking question if esports is valuable for me, you already on the last cab of a train.
All right.
So you have to hurry up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. Like we've noticed the operators who are interested and see the huge opportunities in the esports betting, but they're like, maybe later. What's the deal with being slow in jumping on this gold mine? And why have many been slow to embrace esports? That's the question now. Juana.
Well, to be honest, I think many times it's about if you're not familiar with esports, right? If you have never been to an event, it is probably a bit challenging to believe that a venue is full of esports fans cheering for their favorite team, right?
But come on, they all saw the photos from the events. Coverage is everywhere, but still.
But still, it's like, I always say you have to see it to believe it, right? Yeah. And, an esports fan has the same passion as a traditional sports fan, right? So from my perspective, I often say, look, we're speaking about, as Max said, this is an investment, right? If you jump on the boat now, you are already late, but you can still join the party, right? Because there are many operators out there and they already did their proper investment and they already see the results. So the business cases, and there are many business cases that we created, right? So the business cases are already there. You have to see it as an investment because we speak about a young audience, right? And people that played, Counter-Strike 10 years ago, they are not in their 20s right now, right? So they're in their 30s or they're in their 40s. So we are speaking about, a very sustainable audience. And also the average age of an esports player is 25. That means put it on the strategic agenda, right? Yep. Put it on the agenda. If you want to secure strategic growth, if you want to secure revenue growth, and if you want to target this audience and also keep this audience for the next 20 years, the next 30 or even 40 years, because the average age is 25. I mean, you can keep this client for, so many years. So from my perspective, yes, and I think Max and Oliver would agree. So it is not a question of, should I put it on my agenda? It's like, yes, if you want to secure strategic growth and revenue growth, please, it has to be there.
All right. Oli?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Joanna says. I think, but just to add to it, I think, so I've been in the industry, I'm ashamed to admit it, I've been in the industry since 2005. And it's funny what you mentioned earlier, Zoltán, about that 2016, I was actually operator side. I was working for MarathonBet at that time. And what I think operators have, it's like you do what you know. You do what you're comfortable doing, even if that is the path to a kind of diminishing amount of people. So you've got this group of sports bettors that you can feel, and you know how to kind of push marketing to, you know how affiliation works, you even know how your kind of brand marketing works, you know all of that. Particularly if we're not talking about the really kind of the really innovative companies like your Betways or your Bet365s or your Entains, these kind of guys, but you're kind of maybe looking at maybe your kind of standard tier ones. So there's always going to be a bit of fear because you're doing something that you don't know. It's still an unanswered question. We're all living off this selling point of essentially, look, you know that there is a finite number of users and therefore a finite number of revenue opportunities, and there's a finite number of countries and states you can go into to offer a football product or an NFL product or a casino game or this. So you have to cycle that content very, very quickly, and it's always not quickly, but it's always diminishing. With esports, you're selling kind of, this is all potential. This is where you could go. We can go from the 1 to 3% that Max was talking about to 8%, because that's entirely possible because it's this untapped audience. The operator will come back to you and kind of go, I just don't know how to do that. How do I do that? Where do I go? What do I do? I think that's our job, is all of our jobs, and our job as a community is to collectively reassure and say, actually, well, look, no, don't, right, fair enough, enter that country. We get that. That's strategic, that's valuable. But let's interrupt your cycle of 1,000,001 new slots that you're integrating, and let's interrupt that integration cycle, and let's put that investment into esports. Let's talk to your marketing team. Let's educate about how you engage with a new audience, not sending the same free bets to the same audience that you've done, the same free spins, or re-engaging this audience over here. Let's actually look at attracting some new players. And that is something they need our help doing. All of us collectively as salespeople to sell our own solutions and sell our own products, but they need our vision and our collective kind of insight to say, actually, let's be brave, let's do this, let's go after, it's interesting that operators, when we sign a lot of operators, that they consider esports alongside pushing for Brazil, because they think, oh, I'm going to push for Brazil because I'm comfortable with that, and esports is quite popular, so I'll do esports at the same time as pushing into Brazil. So it's kind of in a kind of a mindset of this goes with this. But that's my view. I mean, having seen it from operator side, I know there's there is a natural caution in those. They're very successful by being naturally a little bit cautious.
Okay, Max?
Yeah, totally agree about the caution and about the approach. That it's better to do what you're doing right now, and it's working. So yeah, you don't need to change anything. But I believe that our goal to create a picture of the future, let's say in 5-10 years, and probably the best approach for operators is to work with the data internally, just to analyze what they have right now, what kind of audience they have, how this audience is changing. As example, for football or for classic sports, what kind of percentage right now they have, what kind of percentage of this audience they had, I don't know, 5 years ago, and to analyze the average age for each sport. It will help to understand, okay, do I have already audience for esports, or I need to invest to attract the audience? If I don't have audience, so of course I have to change a little bit, at least the design of my sportsbook, and probably even sometimes create a new one, especially for esports, because the vision of esports player is totally different from the vision of classic sports. So yeah, a lot of challenges, and why sportsbook operators doesn't want to do it, because it's a lot of investment. So you have to invest a lot. One, you have to find right people who will explain you what is a sport is, and who will understand this particular audience, who know the rules of the games and everything. So I believe on the first place we should put education. Yeah. So the education is when each participant of our ecosystem inside our business share the information. Yeah. And we try to be maximum transparent always, because this is the future. When we're talking about esports, it's a future in terms of money, let's say, big money. But right now, of course, we have at least probably I believe 10% of sportsbook companies who invest in esports, and already generates a lot. And this is the best option when you have different type of revenue streams, from other products, and not focus only on something specific on the classic sports. Just remember pandemic.
Yeah,
all
I
right.
absolutely agree. Yeah. The pandemic was a really good example, right? And everybody was really grateful of having esports in their books, because that saved many operators. And also what Max is saying, yes, education, I absolutely agree 100%, because what happens is that usually the pure focus is on, the traditional sports, and there is not, at least, from the experience that I have when speaking to operators and also prospects, usually there is not an esports expert in the marketing team, right? So, but this is something that can be solved, right? So you look for someone who is an esports expert, and then you start create content, right? And this is how you get to a new audience. So you have to definitely start somewhere, because investment also means you tap into a very new, beautiful field. And for me, tapping into esports is a very beautiful field. So you just have to, start hiring. If you don't know, I always say, look, if you don't know, that's okay, right? Because you cannot know, it's impossible to know everything, but then you need someone who knows, right? And this is why we are here for, and this is why people can get hired for, the marketing positions that are familiar with the sport, because then we also come to the topic of authenticity. This is also important.
All right. So as teaching our audience, I have to disclose that whenever we publish an article about the Player Unknown's Battlegrounds or CSGO, we get about 8 to maybe even 15 times more traffic on those articles. So that's the crowd.
But this is very interesting that you are sharing this as well, right? So this is very interesting information, and I think that should be spread as well. I mean, that is super exciting, and that already shows, okay, look, you get more traction when publishing an article related to esports than, the other articles.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we do publish about 35 to 40 articles per day, out of which maybe 40% are new slots releases, which happen every week. But these are driving really good traffic. So the public is there. So it's definitely worth the investment. So my next question is about what unique challenges does delivering a compelling sportsbook throw up, and how do they differ from traditional sports betting? Who would like to go first on this? Max.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I lost the question.
No worries. So the question is, what are the unique challenges when delivering a compelling sports book, and how do they differ from traditional sports betting? I mean, compelling sports book means having the sports betting side and esports both integrated in your on your website.
So it's really interesting question. So first of all, I believe I put it on the first place. It's understanding the esports audience. For me, it's it's crucial, because you can create whatever you want, but if you don't understand the audience, you will fail. So in this case, what does it mean? It's means to understand the fans. And it's typically younger audience than for traditional esports. As we said, previously it's average 25 years old. And also just remember that, for example, CSGO, it's already 20 years, on the market, 20 years. When I was young, I played CSGO. So I know, how it looks like, how to play.
Same here.
And Dota 2, I believe, around 10 years. So it means that these games grow the audience, for the future. So you have to, about the marketing, as Juana said, about marketing, it's really essential thing, how to attract them, how to work with this specific audience, also to organize some internal events, sponsorships. So it's not only about the content on your website. It's about the creating ecosystem, around your brand, and that's why it's scary for a lot of sportsbook, because you have to do a lot of work to attract. So in terms of difference from traditional sports, I believe, it's technology integration. Technically, esports, I believe, right now on a high level and still developing. And in terms of, I believe, match fixing, this is also integrity, the one of the issue that we also discussed, always. So in terms of integrity, esports gives you an opportunity to generate a lot of data. So for the analysis and for preventing match fixing and for improving integrity, it's also a huge difference from the traditional sports. And of course, I can't imagine football better or classic sport better betting on Dota 2. Only in case, it's the average age, like 25, 30 years. For example, I can play football. I like sports, classic sports, but I also spend some time, playing online games, and I have, some community, where we gather together and talking about the esports and Dota 2 or CSGO events or Valorant or something else. So that's why the main idea, technology and audience. And this is for me probably the most important thing. And the investment, not only in getting a product, but overall invest to the creating your internal brand ecosystem.
Okay. Juana?
Yeah, I agree what Max is saying, right? It's about, creating the experience within the ecosystem, because this is how we make it grow. Also, what you said, Zoltán, what is important for kind of attracting this target group? Well, one of the main sentences that I always have in my mind and that I always communicate is, look, if an esports bettor want to place a bet, please help him or her to find it.
Yeah.
If you don't find it, you cannot place a bet. It's very simple, right? And sometimes, and this is why it is, for my understanding, crucial to have, if you kind of implement it into your in your operation, that you have, your casino, sports, esports, definitely, as a separate opportunity, because and we are talking about a very young audience, right? If you do not find what you're looking for and it takes more than 2 seconds, right, to look at it, then you go away and you go to someone else where you find it. So this is definitely crucial. And then also overall catering to this young audience that are used to used to a different setting, because esports is differently, as Max said, right? And then there are so many wonderful opportunities that might be, right, Max said, might be scary because it's an investment and it's a lot of money. On the other side, it is also a great opportunity. Hey, let's step out of the comfort zone, and you can build such a wonderful business plan for esports, like saying, okay, look, we need to make sure that our esports better, that they find our offer, right? Then we can do sponsorships. We can also organize events, right, to build up the whole brand. I mean, it's a massive opportunity.
All right, Ollie.
So what we've seen and what we've said, so you guys probably know about, so last year we published a white paper on, and it was an early study on what we felt, what was the, similar to this, what was the best approach. And what we found is, and to, you know, give our, hopefully we've got a few operators watching this, to give them a bit of reassurance, because I know at the moment it sounds like we've given them a lot of work and told them they need to spend a lot of money. So to reassure them a bit, there isn't, from what we've seen, and it slightly counters what Joanna says. I agree with the sentiment of what she says, but I don't think there is one way. I think it's right. You have to have good user journey. You have to have good customer experience, good experience on a website anyway. Like sport operators should have that anyway. They don't all, and they should put time into that. You know, the user experience on a lot of operators' websites can obviously be improved, but there isn't one way of doing esports. We've seen operators who have it as a separate part of the nav, or have it in the left-hand nav, just one of their sports, and it's in the ranking, and we've seen both be successful. And I think that comes down to the sentiment that we all believe in, is you've got to have a unique experience. You've got to kind of think about the people who are engaging on your website and think about the people you're trying to attract. And to kind of come in on something that Max said, which I was quite interested in a point as well, which is actually there is one fear where we get from operators, which is about cannibalization. And there is that point where we have to kind of do a bit of reassurance to say that we're not going to take your football bettors and turn them into esports bettors. You're not going to lose your football revenue over here and that be taken up by esports. Have new customers, which again comes down to having a very, very good UX experience. And that's something we leave to the operator, but we guide them and say, this is what is appealing to these types of players. You know, not a lot of people understand that esports bettors like to do it. There's a little bit less mobile prevalence in betting on esports. It's still, should we say, it's still largely weighted in mobile betting, but not as much as, say, football is. And that's due to the fact that when you're watching or playing CSGO or League of Legends, you're on a desktop, you're on a computer, or you're on something like that. So, and I think there's innovation that needs to happen in that mobile experience, which actually is more tailored to how esports will view esports events and how bet on that. You know, I'm not going to pick up our product too much, but it's why I think micro markets and something overlay onto the stream is quite interesting. Yeah, I think, but I think I think it's important that operators understand that there isn't just one way of doing it. There are other ways. There's multiple examples. Betway did a great job doing it their way. Bet365 did a great job doing it their way. Rivalry did a great job doing it their way. Pinnacle, there's many operators, and each one of them, I'm sure all the guys on the panel can speak to people on their, in their customer sets who do things one way and do things differently. I also think, and sorry, I'm talking a lot, but the other thing I want to say is you do have to think about the geography as well. So there's no point having the same approach for a LATAM League of Legends focused kind of market or set of punters to a Central European one. So there are nuances there. But the good news for the operator is there's a lot of ways you can do it and a lot of ways you can be successful. All right.
So yeah, Max, by the way, you throw me off with Dota. I stopped at CSGO. I was a huge Quake fan. That was my game.
Me too.
Good.
All right. So you guys talked about many challenges, but there's also ways to overcome them, of course. And you, as experts in this industry, can help the operators to do that. So how can the operators overcome these challenges that you mentioned? So let's go with Juana first.
I mean, speaking from Odin's perspective, right? So Odin can help with different types of solutions, right? When it comes to product. So we have an esports odds feed, we have the risk management, we also have an iframe solution, a ready-to-lose solution. Also stressing out the risk management, and Max slightly touched the topic of integrity, because this is always a question that comes. So of course, we take integrity very seriously. And since we have a very strong risk management and many of our clients are taking our risk management, and that means we receive constant feedback from the market when seeing all the tickets, right? That also means that we can see kind of unusual behavior. If there is something suspicious, of course, we start analyzing the data. And we already had the opportunity in the past to help kind of, send these analysis or data analysis to tournament organizers and publishers where we thought, all right, look, there is something suspicious going on and we see some fishy betting behavior. So in this regard, we also help, right? We also help and we take it very seriously with integrity. Also, what we do is with Jotun, we have our own marketing agency, so we can also help with marketing activities. And this is exactly what we said, that, okay, sometimes it is challenging for operators because they don't really know how to tackle the audience, what to do, where are they, right? And also, saying when it comes to, and we can help, with this different countries, because there is not one size fits all, as Oliver said. There are different approaches, right? And this is also the opportunity to do some testing, right? So we can definitely help with many solutions, and I think the most important thing is to get started.
All right, Ollie.
So again, to speak of again, to echo a point on, and I think it's really important that all of us do this, because I think it is always a bit of a concern that comes up when we pitch, is about integrity. Similarly to Joanna, we are trading team, and I think we're all members of ESIC, aren't we? For a better, for better or for worse, they do a job, and we're part of that, and that is important, that community and us collaborating in those aspects to protect operators from anything dodgy, I think is very important. And we have robust processes, and we have strong blacklisting and strong customer profiling. So we do those things too, and I think it's important that we all do that. In terms of how do we overcome the challenges for operators, I think it's very, if you listen to all of us and look at all of our sets of products, we're all innovating. We're all innovating faster than sports and a lot of other kind of parts of our industry are. There is a perception, and I've been on panels and seen panels where whatever lessons that sportsbook can teach esports, this kind of thing. And it's actually, I think we should flip that round and say, actually, esports should learn a lot from sportsbook, because actually we're innovating a lot faster. We're doing a lot of cool stuff. And I think that's something that will help operators, and that actually you work with one or two or any combination of us, you're going to get innovative, great product, which is different to what you've got elsewhere. So you're actually in very good hands now. I think there's been a lot of BS around, like I said earlier, around the kind of what esports innovation actually looks like. But actually now I think it's very, very strong at the moment. And then particularly if you look at the market. So that's good news for the operator. We're all data-led companies. We all make our decisions based on data, and it's a key part of PandaScore's makeup that we make sure we empower our customer with data. Autonomy and data-led innovation is, are two of our core values, and I think it's very important that we give that to the operator. We let them make their decisions, but we give them the insights and the things that they need in order to do those. So I think all the tooling's there, and I think it's just again, I think it's very important. Come back to what I said earlier. I think it's very important that we continue to give the message and encourage operators to be brave, because I don't think the challenges are very difficult to overcome. I think there are harder challenges in new market entry, I think it's harder to get new revenues out of football, than it is to do a good bit of, invest some time in choosing the right products for you for esports, investing time on some marketing people who have some knowledge and expertise in that, and doing it properly for markets to work for it. I think that is easier. It's just out of comfort zone. It's out of habit. And you have great companies like that who are all at the kind of stage where we're not sitting there, established big companies who don't need to innovate. We all have to drive change and good products, and we're all competing. It's a really exciting space. So I think that's the biggest thing. It's not hard for operators to overcome these challenges. We're all here to help them, and they can have great esports products.
All right, thank you, Ollie. Max.
It's hard to add something, but I totally agree with the statement that we can help to overcome these challenges. And this is the main idea. And we talked about it with Juana, in Miami. So this is really important for particularly iGaming market, iGaming business, to understand that you can find a proper partner here. You can find someone who can explain, who can educate and help you not to spend a lot in the initial stage, just providing you with not traditional, I want to say traditional, with some metrics, with some scheme, how to work with esport in particular region, how to attract the audience and everything. And I believe this is, the reason how to overcome challenge for sports operator is to be open, to ask, at least to ask, and to try something new. I'm not talking about the millions of investment. I'm talking just about the analyzing your current status and at least to think about the future. I understand that right now many companies has a lot of employees, and they have to pay salary to the employees, and everything is good when it's good. But what will be in 5 years? What will be in 1 year? I don't know. Nobody knows. But we see the traction. We see how esports developing year to year, and definitely, probably, if the owner of sportsbook just buy a ticket for his family, his son, or I don't know, to the event like Blast or something else, who organize these events, and just visit these events, there will be no challenges, any challenges, because this is massive market, and it's already here. So. But of course, I believe the main idea, if to put it in topics, just education. Guys, we need to educate and ourselves and sportsbook operators, just to help them to understand what exactly esport means and how to deal with that. And that's why we are here.
Absolutely. And I would love to share 2 examples with you that I had, right? One was, I was speaking to a dad that I think that was 2 or 3 years ago in Las Vegas. It was about, educating esports. It was like, oh, wow, esports. I had no idea that it is growing that much. My son is playing, CSGO. And, I tried, and he said to me, I tried to get him excited to go with me to a soccer match, but he's not excited. And he's just, watching CSGO. And I'm like, see? It's exactly like this. And last year I had a kind of a similar conversation I spoke to someone from Latin America, and we were speaking about Dota 2 and also the prize pool about Dota 2. So he was quite shocked when he heard how massive the prize pool is. And then he went home and he spoke to his son. And then later we spoke again. We had a phone call and he said, Juana, I asked my son if he knows Dota 2. And he said, Dad, yes, of course. I'm watching the international. What do you think?
Yeah.
Right? And it's exactly this. So, you know, what we are trying to say is, it is not that, you know, the traditional sports fan, you know, that they will dry out. No, they will be there, right? But we are speaking about an audience that is not interested in traditional sports, that is focusing on esports, and they love their teams, right? So when, you know, I remember my husband bought a baby body for our son with his favorite soccer team. So right now we are in a phase, right, where the esports fans are buying baby bodies with their favorite esports teams on it, right?
Yeah.
So this is, so I'm just sharing this because I thought that exactly explains what we're facing right now.
All right.
Correct. Yeah, totally
So
agree.
I also want to give you some information from because we like to bring people together and share knowledge. A couple of months ago, I did a podcast with Ping Events, which is an online quiz platform. Garrett Langley, he just informed me a couple of days ago that, you know, that they had a Guinness World Record set for the biggest online quiz, and now they had their first esport activation, a quiz for 20,000 fans in Copenhagen with Blast TV. So basically, you guys you should look them up, because this is something very engaging for the audience, especially waiting for the competition to start, to keep them entertained. So my next question is, and I would like to ask each panelist to give just 2 features. So what are the key features of a good esports betting product? Just 2 per person, please. Juana.
When I think about that, it is dedication and passion.
All right, good. Sounds good.
Product.
Ollie?
I would say good models and a strong user experience.
Good. Max?
Yes. I would say, that for a good esports product, data is crucial, and I believe, and trading, dedicated trading team. This is important. Trading and data. This is the key factors.
So these are the. Go ahead.
Yeah, with dedication and passion, right? This is like for everything that you have, you know, the trading team that is passionate about what they are doing. Of course, the models, right, as well. But it's not only about the models, it's also about the people that are experts in the game, because you need to know what is happening in the game and what is not happening in the game.
Yeah, correct.
Exactly.
Correct.
All right, so how important is... go ahead, Ollie, sorry.
I was just going to say one last thing, because I think that is important, because we've had this for a long time, and I think it's, again, I know I'm preaching to the choir here with the guys on the panel, but go with a supplier who knows esports. It's who solely does esports. That we've had a lot of time where people have had esports that's been thrown in. I know I've spoken to you about it, Zoltán, as well. It's been thrown in with something else. Don't do that anymore. Work for one of us, or some of us. You'll have that. You'll have the values which are incredibly important, which Joanna mentioned there, because it's what drives all of us.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So how important is authenticity in the ultimate success of an esports betting brand? Juana, go first.
Ooh, super important, right? And I remember we had this question on a panel and we were on a panel together as well, Oliver and Max. And I think we were also speaking about being authentic towards the esports audience. They will realize if you take it seriously, if you know what you are speaking about. And this is why what we touched earlier when we said, all right, if you try to get to this audience, right, provide the right content, show that you are really interested, provide real content, right? If someone, let's take a blog, right, or a blog post. If someone is writing something and an esports fan reads it as like, nah, but this is not really the case. This is not really true. They will realize it, and then they're gone. So of course you have to be authentic, and if you really want to have a good esports offer, do it right. Do it right? So these are my 2 cents. Being authentic is definitely crucial.
Ollie?
Yeah, I can only echo that and say it's incredibly important. I think you have to engage your audience from a point of view of authenticity. We're in this great stage at the moment of innovation, which we've all spoken about. You can't fake that. You can't cookie cutter yet. You can't do the kind of affiliation processes that are all kind of very baked in. It has to be really good engaged content for outreach and for kind of acquisition. And you have to know, I think for root and branch, you have to know where everything is and where everything comes from. And I think that's very important. All right, Max?
Yeah, I believe when you just compare the type of events, like classic sport events and right now esports events, how it looks like, how it organize in terms of quality, technically, and so engaging in terms of marketing. So this is how to work with the audience. It means how to work with the audience, how to understand their preferences, how to feel the bit of the game, not a bit of the money.
Okay.
Yeah, and
You want to add something?
Okay. No, yeah, I mean that this is in terms of working with the audience and understand the audience. This is really important to feel, to feel this bit inside them and to approach correctly, not to ruin the idea of the game. The game on the first place for gamers always, and we have to understand that.
All right. So this is the closing question. And with this, before we thank our audience for their attention. So any closing remarks, final thoughts, how the future looks like? Juana.
Well, the future is definitely bright, right? And I would like to encourage everybody who thought about esports to think about it even more. And also, happy to provide the knowledge and also the experience that we made, because we all are very esports centric, right? And we are more than happy to share and to help.
All right. Ollie?
Yeah, I think to echo what Joanna put it really succinctly there. I think that's it. I think it's really important. It's great to have a panel like this. And with you, Zoltán, I can only thank you, from our perspective, for having us on here and having this kind of conversation. I think one of the things which frustrates me is sometimes that particularly when we go to panel discussions, they're the same thing. We're sort of justifying esports. We're sort of kind of saying that it's like this fighting for space. And I think that narrative is untrue. I think it is the time to act now. I think, and it is easier. It has its challenges, but it is easier than doing some of the stuff that operators are currently doing, because I know how hard that is. So working with one or some of us as a partner and doing that, working with you as an operator to do that and build that new audience and pushing on to another stage where you're engaging with this, wonderful opportunity that we're all talking about, I think is just get on with it. Just do it now. We're all here to help. Esports is here. it's growing. Don't get left behind. It's a big year.
Max, you can not get out of the ballpark.
Yeah, so the door is still open. Please come in. And we are all here for the esports industry to help in the business. And don't be afraid. And the future, I'm not sure about the brightness of this future, but it depends on what kind of resources we put right now for our future. And in this case, it should be bright.
All right.
And also adding to this, and I think I will speak, for Olive and Max. I think we also need to thank you, Zoltán, because it is also extremely important that we have this opportunity to speak, that we have this opportunity to share, that you are also spreading the word. And it is great that you shared this, the news before, where you said, hey, look, I have so many more clicks when I publish an esports article. Yes, so, and this we need more education, because with that we spread the news, with that we educate, with that we show, yes, it is not just something like, it is here and it will
exactly.
No, it is here to stay. So we would also like to thank you for giving us the opportunity to be here on this panel, and also very excited to see more articles about esports.
All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's our pleasure. And that's why we provide this platform for a couple of years now, and continue to grow. And thank you so much for the audience for sticking around. One more virtual clap for our panelists here today. And thank you so much for your time, Juana, Oli, and Max, because I know that it's very difficult to get everybody synchronized like this. So with this being said, thank you for joining us. This has been, as I said, the final quarterly meetup this year, and we will be back next year. But until then, you might want to check out our weekly huddle, where we speak about the industry's news every week in a live event that's happening every Thursday morning. It's a morning show. We just launched it last year. It's very successful. So take good care, everyone, and see you next time.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. See you again. Bye-bye.
Ciao.